welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. So if you guys look at the other videos that I uploaded tonight, the first video where I talk about how Pam um, asked me if I wanted expired um, uh, uh, macaroni and cheese, right? And I told her, I said, no. Why would you want to give me expired macaroni and cheese? Right? And then she talked about, oh, because your niece like to eat macaroni and cheese. So let me tell you, and I talk about how they use people and how they recruit people. And I talk about within your family, how they will use people within your family. I talk about the issues in which, particularly, you know, how people who are in religious families, right? People who are in religious families, particularly when they're fanatical, right? And a lot of them don't think that they're fanatical, but they are fanatical, right? When you take your children to church and you spend hours and hours, or practically the entire day in church, right? And you have these kids, they're in church for hours, and these kids are hungry and they have to wait until, you know, service is finished to go get something to eat, which is, like I said. But when you're a child and you go through that, you kind of get used to it as you get older, right? So this is, my experience in terms of the type of church that my mother went to in her practice, and what they call spiritual baptism, spiritual Baptist in the Caribbean sense, right? So this happens over and over again. And what they don't realize in their mind is how fanatical they are with their Christian belief system, right? And what it is that they do. Because, church usually, if you go to American church, you know, it usually lasts about service about what, an hour, maybe 2 hours the most, right? But these people be in church like the entire day, right? It'd be like from 12 o'clock, they'll come home like 11 o'clock at night, in church all day, right? So again, talking about these things is, like I said, what I knew. So when Pam said to me that, got home, right? Got home, and um, I ate. Then I was in my room, watching some. I think I was playing a game, what have you. But anyway, at around 11, after 11, went to the kitchen to make some tea. I usually have tea at night, right? And my niece is sitting in the kitchen in her bra and panty. No, she's a big girl, right? In her bra and panty, right? So I go, I have my cup, and I talk about my green cup that I have, and I usually talk about whenever I put water in it, then put it to the department, we'll start using these sirens, right? So I went to refill my cup of water, and my niece started yawning, right? So when I talk about how the surveillance, right, and how they would use family members to engage in that sort of behavior, so tonight was my niece, okay. Then on top of that, I made some tea, and I usually leave it in the kitchen so that I leave it for like about 10 minutes. Let the tea, because it's moringa and soursop tea, right? So went back in the kitchen, got the tea. So went back in the kitchen again. She's doing hand signals and shit like that. I ain't really paid no mind. Drank the tea, right, and then about 15, 20 minutes later, I just started feeling a little funny. Then there was this weird aftertaste in my mouth. It was very slight, but it was weird aftertaste, and I've never really, when I drink that tea, it usually don't have any sort of aftertaste except the taste that I'm used to. But this was different. Then I remember, was it Sunday? Was it Sunday or Saturday? Saturday. So my sister had made soup, lentil soup, and she had put uh, um, when she put it in the fridge, she had put it in like three containers. One of the containers was one of those containers that you get, that you, if you go to like one of those Caribbean restaurants, you get soup in it. So it's like a clear container, but it's pretty tall. And so Saturday, And I was asking her if there any more soup, and she was like, "Yeah, there's soup in that container, in the other container." So I had some of the soup, and within a few minutes, I started getting a headache. Right, but it was a weird type of headache. It wasn't. It was like a um, uh, I can't describe it, right? But it's like a weird type of headache that you get, and it lingered for a few minutes. So I didn't think anything of it, except like I said, what happened tonight, and when I went into the kitchen, right, with my niece yawning and doing all that stuff and such and such. So they will always tell me who they will use at certain um, times within, whether within the house, what have you, and such and such. So when Pam mentioned that, and again, my niece sitting in the kitchen, and again, I'm her uncle. Why are you sitting in the kitchen with your bra and panties? But you see, the mindset of a lot of these young black women, because again, they're raised with my sister, don't really have any sort of say, because again, the mindset, right? The so-called educated black women, particularly the younger black women today, so-called educated, are the most ignorant because they have the degree and because they're being used by white, liberal, racist women. Then on top of that, like I said, a lot of Negro women will lie, they will manipulate in order to do what? In order so that they can, and it's a mindset because Pam has that mindset too, where she will lie so she can play the victim, right? So she can cast herself as a victim and get something out of it, right? Get something out of it. And when you look at how they, I was watching a video of this woman who's working at, she worked at this medical office for 20 years. 20 years, okay? So they did this video, and I want you to understand how propaganda works, particularly white male propaganda when it comes to our women. So in this video, this woman worked in this medical office for 20 years, right? And she was called out into the out of she was called into the hallway, into the lobby, and you had these doctors, white doctors, of course, and they're giving her, because it's 20 years since she worked there, they're taking out stacks of cash and putting it in her hands, right? And then another doctor came and gave her more cash, right? And she starts crying and such and such. And I'm saying to myself, you've worked at that office for 20 years, right? They have not paid you what you deserve. So for 20 years, that money that they're giving you, whether it be $10,000 or what have you, right? Imagine if they were paying you what you were worth. Imagine if they were paying you how they should be paying you. Okay? So understand how propaganda works and what it is that they're doing and how they engage in the manipulation of our women, right? Using jobs, using particularly social media now, right? There's a video I want you guys to go look at. It's called They're Killing Us. It's on YouTube, right? So when I talk about how they would get other black people to do nefarious things to those of us who understand the truth and who are trying to awaken the minds of our people, and women are the ops because they will engage in not only just manipulating a woman but manipulating us, the men, as well. But because we black men have gone through so much in this country, particularly as we get older, right? We begin to become more into the reality and the truth. Even though in the past we know the truth, but we tend, with the religious mindset, you tend to be kind of delusional and aloof to the real world and what's going on. We live in our own world. We don't think about white supremacy as we should think about it. We just think about the racist remark a white person may make. But we don't think about the systematic things that they do to destroy us, to destroy our health, to destroy our minds, to destroy our children. So we don't think about the systemic things unless it directly affects us as on the individual level. But in this video called "They're Trying to Kill Us," I'm looking at the the title. We're talking about the systematic effort of white supremacists in the U.S. government to eliminate black people, from the bad food to the bad products in the store to the lack of healthy food within black communities in terms of healthy grocery stores. All right, it is a video that you must watch. And we, as black people, we are poisoning ourselves with this, and we are poisoning our children. Why? Because the vast majority of black people in America are low income. And the kind of food that they can't afford, that we can afford, okay, is bad food. That's why there are more bad food in the black community than anywhere else. Because when you go to the white community or areas that's predominantly white, you have healthy food stores. Okay? So they will always scheme and try to eliminate those of us who come into that consciousness because they want us to remain ignorant. They don't want us to have knowledge. They don't. Because when we start to have knowledge, guess what? We start making better decisions. And they don't want that. And the fact, like I said, because they understand the mindset of our women, that they are manipulating them using through the jobs. Okay? And a lot of them is not even getting paid what they should be paid. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of them, just like when I was working, flew out to California to work on Apple products and stuff like that, right? In terms of for the advertising. Okay? That's why I stopped killing myself for companies when I realized that these companies don't give a damn about us. Particularly if you're black in America. They don't give a shit about you. They will use you and then discard you. You will dedicate yourself, your time. A lot of our women who are single mothers, they have their children at home by themselves while they're working late for a company that don't give a shit about them. While their white coworkers are punching out on time. And I understand there's certain professions where, that may not be the case, right? But for the most part, and most black people will tell you, when they work alongside white people, they leave on time to go home to their husband, to their wives, right? But us, black people, we're there working late. We're there on the weekends, right? And then they want to say black people are lazy. Black people are the hardest working people in America. But we're at the bottom. And it's by design, right? And until we can get rid of this religious mindset that they've given us and start to produce within the minds of our children thinkers, not believers, thinkers, those who can think critically, those who we can instill certain things so that when they become adult and they get into the workplace or they start a business, it will be for the benefit primarily of their people. Not to say that it can't benefit other groups of people, but we have to lift ourselves out of the situation, and we're not doing it because of this religious belief. Excuse me, ease. Right, but we're not doing it because of this religious belief system that we have, and the fact that we just accept the way how we're being treated and the way that we are because it's like, well, it's God's will. This is the bullshit, and it pisses me off. Because then you will have people within your group, within even your family, who will do things like try to poison you. Okay? Because they're being manipulated. And also because women, particularly black women, are very, I should say Negropeans women, very vindictive. Right? They don't need a man. And if they do, get a man, they think that man is beneath them. Like us, the woman who talk, this big woman, fat woman, 300 pounds, black woman, European woman. Oh, my weight shouldn't matter. I have a PhD. This is what she said. This is what they're being led to believe. They don't say, hey, uh, what kind of woman do you like? How does what kind of woman do you look for when you first see them? What's the physical attraction, right? But no, but like I said, these very same women will look at a 300-pound black man, right, and said to him, "Nigga, you fat. I ain't fucking with you." But if you a black man and you said to an obese, a fat black woman, an European woman, that you're too fat, then you're body shaming, right? Then they'll get upset. So I want you to understand this, my brothers, black men, even the European ones. All women are being used as the ops against us, but not only against us, but against our children as well. Okay? Think about it. Think about it. If 80% of, particularly here in New York City, 80% of teachers in New York City are white. Only 20% are people of color. All right? When you look at schools situated in predominantly areas where black people live, and the vast majority of students are black in those schools, who are the teachers that you see in there? White women, white men, black women. If you do have any black male teachers in there, it's very few. But you'll see more black women, more white men. Then let's look at the rate of which black boys are expelled from school or given some form of punishment within the school. When it's black women, they punish black boy students or male students at the same rate as the white teachers do. Understand that, right? Understand what I'm saying. So even when you're in school, right, black female teachers will suspend black boys more than they will suspend Hispanic students or other students of color. Okay? So I want you guys to think about this, my brothers. You see, in every other community, the men in that group, in that community, are the ones that are the backbone of that community. Not the women. The woman is the backbone of the family, but not the community, because it is understood that it is the men that build the community, but it is the woman that maintains the family in terms of, the culture and those things, right? So you will never hear them say that the white woman is the backbone of the white community. You will never hear them say that the Hispanic woman is the backbone of her community. You will never hear them say the Arab woman is the backbone of her community. You will never hear them say that. No. You never hear them say the Asian woman is the backbone of the Asian community. But these white liberal politicians, because they've been using psychological operation against us, as well as the conservatives too. Don't think because I say this because we live in a liberal city, that doesn't mean the conservatives are, I talk about this already, right? The coin, the white supremacy, both sides, Republican, Democrats, right? And that coin is called white supremacy. Two sides of the same coin. Always remember that, right? So, but when it comes to the black community, they tell black women that they are the backbone of the black community. And because of the egotistical mindset of women in general, but particularly in the black community, black women, because they have been given all the praises, but none of the accountability. They will not accept accountability. They don't want accountability, even when it comes to their relationship. All right? But they have not reached a level of understanding to know what is being done. Okay? And particularly when they are teaming up with the, like I said, my brothers, when they talk about God is in control of their life, understand that the God that they're talking about are the white people. Because the white people is giving them their jobs. The white people is giving them whatever, you know, instructions of putting their children on drugs. Right? Well, how come the white people then telling them, hey, you know what, you need to lose weight? Right? We love you, we care about your health, you need to lose weight. They're not telling them that. Right? They're not telling them that. They will tell them that, oh, you know, yeah, how old is your kids? They'll be fine. You know, you can work an extra 2 or 3 hours. Right? And they love, and they'll do it. They'll do it. They will do it. And then they wonder why our children is failing in school. Because even as a black man and a father, when you say to the mothers, hey, did you make sure that such and such did their homework? Did you make sure that they read? Did you check to make sure their homework is okay? Oh, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. I work all the time. Why should I come home and do this and do that? When they're the one that chose to have children and then chose to be single mothers. Because let's make this clear. The vast majority of women are the ones that leave the relationship, not the men, even when they have kids. So then they'll get on social media and again play victim. I'm not to say that every woman is playing victims, right? But in general, this is what they've been taught, using psychological operations, using cognitive warfare. Okay? So understand what it is that they're doing. And for me, being a TI and you know how they engage in this sort of behavior. So also I was watching the video and the person was talking about heart disease amongst black people, in particular black, you know, black men and black women. And then they used the call horn. I'm very healthy. I don't have any heart issues. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I eat healthy. You don't see me eating fast food and McDonald's and stuff all the time. I don't do that. Most of the time when I eat, it's cooked food. Okay. I don't eat a lot of fried chicken, right? If I do eat red meat, it's once in a while. All right. So again, I'm doing this video because I know how these people are. Right? And the fact that I am not being silent, I refuse to be silent for what it is that they've done to me. They're going to try everything in the book, and they will manipulate the people around you, including family members, to do things like poison you. Okay, so I'm gonna document this, and on top of that too, I'm gonna go to my doctor to get my blood work done. I need to go, but I'm gonna go because see, one of the things that they do is to try to stop you from going to getting to the doctor. All right, so that way they can do things like this to destroy your health. And if you don't go to the doctor to get blood tests done, to get blood work, you will never know. And no one else would ever know. So I will be going to my doctor and I will be getting my blood work done. Also, actually, I don't just rely on that, right? Because I understand that that how they have people within those labs, right, that will falsify test results. Okay, and that's not just me saying it. Go Google it. Go Google medical testing labs that have been caught lying and giving false results or false report about blood work. Go look it up. I keep saying, don't just take my word for it. I don't want you to believe me. I don't use that word belief. So I don't want you to believe. I want you to know whether I'm telling you the truth or not. Go look it up. Medical testing lab, even crime labs, guilty of, they've been guilty of what? Falsifying results in order to get a conviction. I understand what it is that they're doing. All right? Talk to you guys in the next video.